Amid talk of foreign boots in Ukraine, Berlin has delivered a hard reality check on peace plans, warning that current ideas are far ahead of what is realistically possible. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz said foreign troops in Ukraine are impossible without Russia's consent, stressing that any deployment would require Moscow's approval. Merz warned the world is still far off from a ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine, underscoring how distant even a basic halt in fighting remains. This came as Russia fired its hypersonic Oreshnik missile overnight at Ukraine, an attack Moscow itself confirmed on Friday. Interestingly, this time the missiles hit close to Poland, a member of NATO, adding new pressure on the alliance's eastern flank. Moscow carried out this attack to intimidate Ukraine's European and Western allies, according to reporting by Al Jazeera. Amid this climate, Merz said a ceasefire must come first, followed by concrete security guarantees for Ukraine's long-term protection. However, the German Chancellor stressed that none of this is possible without Moscow's approval, according to RT.
As for the coalition of the willing, I discussed this with the British Prime Minister and the French President immediately after the Berlin meeting in December of last year, that there is such a memorandum of understanding with Ukraine regarding troops in Ukraine. However, I want to make it clear here, so that no misunderstandings arise. We are talking about security guarantees following a ceasefire. There is no one here, not even a single member state in the EU or beyond, who believes that we are now and should go to Ukraine to intervene in the ongoing conflict. We support Ukraine. We do everything to ensure that this war ends. But in this context, we are only talking about military safeguarding of peace, a ceasefire agreement, and the question of which countries can contribute to this. We are currently discussing it. And with the answer, we are at the beginning and not at the end. I have said from my side, we are prepared to also participate. We are ready to also provide our own security guarantees, including through the Bundeswehr. Initially, however, through appropriate allocation from neighboring countries. How far we can go overall does not depend on me alone. For that, I need a decision by the federal government. It may also require a mandate from the German Bundestag. But again, we are far from that. The sequence must be, first a ceasefire, then security guarantees for Ukraine for a long-term agreement with Russia. And all of this cannot happen without Russia's approval, and we are probably still quite far from that.
On January 6, France and the UK announced plans to deploy forces to Ukraine after a future peace deal is signed. In Paris, Keir Starmer and Emmanuel Macron signed a declaration of intent with Volodymyr Zelensky present at the ceremony. The plan envisions military hubs and a non-combat force of potentially thousands of personnel on Ukrainian soil. These troops would guard weapon sites and support a US-led ceasefire monitoring effort once active fighting stops. This comes despite Moscow's categorical rejection of any Western troops in Ukraine under any circumstances. Russia has said any Western troops in Ukraine will be treated as a form of foreign intervention in the conflict. On January 8, Moscow warned that such units would become legitimate military targets if they deploy. Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova said, I quote, "All such units and facilities will be considered legitimate military targets." Zakharova said peace requires Ukraine's neutrality, demilitarization, and territorial recognition of Russia's gains. The Foreign Ministry spokeswoman insisted Moscow wants the root causes of the war addressed, not just a symbolic Western presence. Pro-Putin NATO nation Hungary warned that these troop plans risk a direct war between NATO and Russia if they go ahead. Budapest called the Western moves warmongering and dangerous for Europe, urging a step back from escalation.